Alright, welcome back to week 4 of the Nerd Herder Show. We are from the Over Beer channel. I'm Nick.
I'm Rich.
And today we should start off by mentioning we are drinking, again, the Pump Kick beer.
Pump Kick from New Belgium.
New Belgium. It's got a cool pumpkin on it.
Got a little crow
picking out his eye.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go on that. Today we're going to be talking about what we've been up to in the past week. So usually each of us talks about a couple things we've either seen or done or whatever.
Yeah.
Why don't you go first?
Sure. One of the big things that I saw this past week was Sleeping with Other People. Have you heard of this?
I have.
If you guys don't know, Sleeping with Other People, it's Alison Brie and...
Jason Sudeikis.
Yes, Jason Sudeikis. Kind of a rom-com, sort of, not really. Essentially, they met once in college, didn't see each other for 10, 12 years, meet up at the end at a sex addict's meeting and decide to sort of just develop as one does with your old college friends you don't see for a long time, and decide to just kind of be friends. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really funny. They're both great. Half naked Alison Brie can never go wrong there. That alone's kind of. But I mean, it's a really good movie. It's really funny. It's playing right now. If you're local in Orlando, it's playing over at Enzian. I don't know how wide of a release it's gonna get.
Probably not very.
No.
At this point. So is it sort of like just they meet at a sex therapy thing? Is it sort of like if in Fight Club Marla and the narrator had just become a comedy and not devolved into anarchy?
Kind of, yeah. Just sort of meet up and like, hey, you're so-and-so from, remember me, I'm from college? Oh yeah, it's been 12 years.
Yeah. And then there was no Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
There's no Brad Pitt, right?
No, there is no Brad Pitt.
Oh well. That's cool. I didn't even realize that movie was out. I remember seeing the trailers. It looked. I thought it looked good.
It's really good. It's very funny. It manages to kind of play with some of the aspects of a typical rom-com without actually falling
does it ever devolve into them? Because I liked Trainwreck. Okay, I thought Trainwreck was a really good movie this past summer, the Amy Schumer movie. But a lot of the acclaim that movie got was that it just kept defying the expectations of a romantic comedy. And I thought by the end of that movie, it became like the most romantic comedy ending ever.
Yeah. Like
to the point where it's just unbelievable. And I definitely had an issue with that ending of that movie. So like you're saying that this movie kind of plays with the tropes of it and kind of, but does it still have that kind of cop-out ending without spoiling anything?
No, I don't think it's a cop-out ending. I think the ending works really well. I don't feel like I kind of agree with you, Trainwreck. I like it a lot, but yeah, that ending is just.
It's the ultimate chick flick.
It's ending. I mean you can't. Which whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. But it's a little.
It's a crowd pleasing way to end a movie.
Yeah. It doesn't fall like in that heavy of any kind of stuff. Like there's definitely kind of those rom-com tropes that sort of are there. But it really sort of subverts the expectations of what's going to happen. Definitely worth checking out. I imagine it's probably, if it's out limited, it might be on VOD. I'm not sure. Worth looking into. If it's playing New Year, it's definitely worth.
So that's seeing. Sleeping with Other People.
Sleeping with Other People.
Check that out.
Jason Sudeikis and Alison Brie.
Cool.
The other thing that I have seen recently, which I know you've also watched, we talked about this a little bit prior. Walking Dead premiered on Sunday.
It did. Big numbers again. Yeah.
If you're watching this now, episode 2 has already aired, but at this time, the first episode just aired. I liked it for the most part. I think it's really solid. But Walking Dead premieres tend to be really solid.
Yeah. They do.
What'd you think?
I enjoyed the episode a lot. It was an episode directed by Greg Nicotero, who of course does all of the makeup effects and everything for the show, and I thought he did a really good job. The episode was 90 minutes, so longer than your average episode. Longer than your average episode.
But it never felt bloated. No,
it didn't, and it it had a really interesting structure to it, back and forth. Apparently they don't trust the audience enough, so they did the back in black and white.
I think it worked though.
It worked. It definitely works, but that's.
Well, I was watching Talking Dead afterwards, and they were talking about it. I think it was on there. They were like, "Well, we originally were going to make it kind of like dreamlike and stuff, and we're like, let's just make it black and white." And I think it works really well, and the black and white looks great. Reminds me of the first episode.
Dana, who people now know from the Dana Explained segment, she walked in. She's given up on Walking Dead. It was just too frustrating to her, and she walked in and was just like, "Why is it gray?" And she walked out. I guess she'd never seen them. Not even knew to call it black and white. And I was just like, get out of here. But I liked the episode. I did. I think it's an interesting setup for the season. We'll see where they go. The episode does kind of end in a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. It looks like maybe shit's, by now people probably know episode 2 is already aired. It looks like shit's gonna go down.
Yeah.
And maybe they're gonna have to leave their little sanctuary there. Maybe, we'll see. I don't know. But like you said, they always start off strong.
They always start off strong, and they always kind of, every season halfway through, I kind of give up, and then I'm like, well, okay, I'll finally pick it up again. But my big question is, how long can they keep doing? It feels like, I don't want to get too spoilery, but you guys are episode 2, so if you're worried about spoilers, if you're worried about spoilers, we're starting possible spoilers.
Oh, we'll do the square?
We're doing square.
Air Square.
Air Square.
This episode of Nerd is brought to you by Air Square.
How many times can they do this? Like the whole Rick on the edge of morality and going crazy, and they find a place, and now the place is in danger, and they're probably going to loot. Like, we've seen this. It was episode season 6. We've seen this already like 4 times.
I agree. How long can they keep doing the same thing over and over again? It isn't me. I should preface this. I don't want to speak for you.
Sure.
But I have watched every episode of the show, but I am not a dedicated lover of the show. I kind of watch it because it's zombies on TV.
Yeah.
It almost made me a zombie of watching the show. It is a frustrating show that does repeat itself frequently. Mm-hmm. I can't believe that the popularity of the show is not dipped at this point.
No, I said, this premiere was really good, but I at this point just watched it I wasn't even excited for it. I'm like, oh yeah. Walking Dead's on tonight. I guess I should watch that.
But I know for a fact, from friends and from social media and stuff, there are still people that just count down the minutes for this.
They still have these huge Walking Dead parties.
Just how do you still that into the show? But hopefully this show. I'm like you. A lot of times, what happens is I'll miss a week, and I'll just kind of let it build for a couple weeks, and I always catch back up. Back up. But even last year, I kind of was in it for the whole time, but I was busy the weekend of the season finale of last season. I didn't watch it until about 6 weeks ago. And I didn't even care. I didn't even care. I just watched it before Fear the Walking Dead because they showed it before it. I would have watched it before the other night, but it doesn't grab me because it's just the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. But hopefully this will be the season where the tension is throughout, where they keep a nice pace to it.
There was some interview where they were like, "Oh, every episode's going to have a cliffhanger, and everything's going to,
And Kirkman said it's the most tense season.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. He talks
searching for that damn kid for 7 episodes and getting Carl in the house.
Even back to season 2 or 3, whatever that was, the entire season on the farm. It was just like, just fucking leave the farm. But The Walking Dead, again, the premiere episode of the season was pretty strong. So we'll see. Anything else?
That's it for Walking Dead. This is End Spoilers, brought to you by the Air Square.
Buy a full year for free domain. Air Square.
I think that's pretty much all I've been up to this last week. I can't think of anything else that I've seen. What about you? What have you been up to?
All right, so a couple things. Of course, Walking Dead was one of them. Video game thing. Big thing happened in video games this past weekend. In fact, it was the biggest thing that EA has ever had of its type. The free beta weekend for the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront game was put out onto Xbox One, PS4, and PC for everyone to play and try out in advance of this game's November 17th release date. And I was one of the people who partook in the beta of Star Wars Battlefront. And I'm happy to say that this game impressed.
Really?
It did. I'm obviously excited for I've been excited for the game since its announcement a few E3s ago, where it was just like, they showed like an AT-AT's foot in the snow or something, and I was like, oh my god, Battlefront's back. And then, you know, we started hearing things, and we've had some off-air discussions about how it wouldn't have a campaign, and it was all online play, and this and that, but there's all these different modes, and then you started seeing footage, and I got excited again, because the footage looked amazing, and they kept talking about how every sound effect was straight from the movies, and it would have the John Williams score, and that's always exciting. And, you know, I downloaded the beta of this game, I booted it up on whatever Friday night, and I gotta say, first and foremost, this is literally one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen.
Really?
The graphics on this thing, first thing I did was they have like a survival mode on Tatooine. There's going to be many other planets that are available for this mode later on, but for the beta it was just Tatooine. It's a 6-wave survival mode. Apparently in the full game it's going to be 15-wave. And just like the rocks and just running around the terrain, it's lifelike. It looks like real life. It was amazing. I was running on PS4, so I can't talk about Xbox One or PC. PC I would imagine looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Xbox One I'm sure looked fine, but a lot of people always say PS4 is more powerful.
That's an argument for...
Yeah, but it looked great. I played it single player. There was a single player mode on that. Played it through a couple times, just try out different, you know, weapons and different, you get like different, the quicker you like unlock things, you get like abilities and stuff. It was great. And then I jumped on again later that night and did it again with a friend, online play, same survival mode. Awesome. It was great together. You know, we were going around and flanking the stormtroopers in the waves, and awesome. Then I was able to one time play like the full like all out online battle mode on Hoth. It's insane. It's insane in a good way. It's just like everybody running around, and you have aerial battles going on, and you have ground battles and AT-ATs.
So now this is you with other people in the beta. Okay.
Right. It was great. It was. I mean, it just looks fantastic. I can't wait to play longer matches, to get to, you know, try out different like actually immerse yourself in the non-beta version of the game. I'm all in. Very excited for it.
Now, did they have like any of the missions and stuff available to you, or
no?
Because I know they talked about there's single player stuff was going to be on beta. Was that just for the survival mode single player, or are there other single player?
The single player thing that was available, as far as you know, I wasn't able to. I was pretty busy this weekend. I was able to play it those 3 times. From my understanding, the single player mode that was available over the weekend was just the survival mode.
Okay.
And that it was still a lot of fun by yourself. I'm excited to see some of the other planets like Endor and stuff like that. I'm imagining they're very big maps. But yeah, I mean, if you were excited for this game and you didn't get to play the beta, stay excited for it. If you're a skeptic like you, because you aren't as into the non-story based.
Yeah, I don't. If you guys don't know, you know, I don't do a whole lot of multiplayer games. I don't do a lot of online multiplayer stuff. The last couple things I dabbled in was like the online for Splatoon and stuff, and I had all the fun with it. But I don't get, you know, you're big into Destiny, that kind of thing. I don't really get into that. So when I heard there was no campaign and kind of a single player, it just kind of was like, well, I have plenty of other stuff to play. I don't really care if I get to this now or not.
But I'm right there with you. Like, yes, I play Destiny, but I play Destiny by myself traditionally and go through the levels. What's cool about the way that is just open world at the same time is that you're playing like a focused story. It's like I can see like 2 guys over on the other side of the planet that are playing real life and just kind of go over and help them defeat whatever they're doing, and then just go back and do what I was doing. But I'm not as into the like just melee, like open world, just everybody's just fighting each other, like, you know, what's made Call of Duty such a success. That's not really what I'm into either. And that does seem like a lot of what Battlefront will be, but because it's Star Wars, because it's that world, because it looks so lifelike, and it's like you're literally like part of the Battle of Hoth, that is more appealing than just like random alien planet, even with something like Halo, where we've come to know the Covenant, we've come to know the Guardians. Like, I'm still never as excited. I just want to play the story, the campaign of Halo. But like to live in Star Wars, a movie that I've loved since I was a kid, like it was unbelievable. I was sitting there like a little kid, like when you pretend, like when you in your mind, but imagine when it snows, like I'm from up north, maybe you didn't do that here, that I was like on Hoth when it would snow. Like that's what it felt like. I was controlling it. I was there. I was in Hoth. Very impressive.
Cool.
So look forward to Battlefront. Last thing, little show and tell. I
Oh,
picked
wow.
up this past week. This is Jessica Jones' Alias. This is the first trade paperback,
Okay.
compiling the run that Brian Michael Bendis, the writer, and Michael Gaydos did back in 2002. This is the main inspiration for the next Netflix Marvel show, Jessica Jones. It was part of the Marvel Max line, which I don't believe exists anymore.
And that's just volume 1, right?
This is just volume 1. There's
Okay.
4 volumes. This collects the first 9 issues, so
Okay.
almost a full year of comics that they did. There's 4 of these. Basically, the Marvel Max line was Marvel kind of unrated.
Okay.
So basically, like, I mean, this book, the first line that opens it up is fuck. And for those who aren't aware, maybe you can tell from the Marvel movies, you don't get that type of thing in
Yeah.
Marvel comics. Image comics, stuff like that, you can get some of that. But this comic, it has, sex and murder. And,
all the fun stuff.
right. I picked it up last week. Before bed one night, I was like, all right, I'll read issue 1. And before I knew it, I was through issue 5. I couldn't put it down.
Wow.
It was great. And it's been a while since there's been anything that reading that kind of grabbed me like that. It was it's so good. Basically the story is, for those who don't know, because I knew nothing about Jessica Jones.
I had no idea anything about it.
And I don't know if this is how the show's going to be. I know that they've said that this is the run that they're pulling from, so I would imagine. But basically, she was a superhero. She was at one point a member of the Avengers, and this is true from the comics.
Okay.
And she kind of went away for a while, Jessica Jones. And in this world, she's not been a superhero for a long time. To make ends meet, living in Hell's Kitchen, she is a private detective, doing typical private detective. It literally opens with basically a homage to Chinatown. A scene straight out of that. She solved that this guy's wife is cheating on him, and he is pissed about it, and she has to throw him through a window. So she still has superpowers, but like she's doing like hard-boiled, just the private eye work. And basically the first 5 issues, she stumbles upon something that she shouldn't have stumbled upon.
Okay.
And it's this big conspiracy and government cover-ups, and it's really good. Really good. If the show is as good as this, this is kind of, I think, for those who know comics, you know the name Brian Michael Bendis. You might not be as familiar with it, but he is a writer that about 4 or 5 years ago, he basically was writing everything big that Marvel did. All their big events he was in charge of. And usually when there's somebody like that, like right now in comics, it's like Scott Snyder at DC. Before that it was Jeff Johns. Usually when there's somebody like that, they started off doing something that really grabbed people's attention, and this is kind of what it was, I think, with Marvel. So highly recommend, especially if you want to get amped up for the new Netflix show, which starts in November. Pick up Alias, Jessica Jones. You won't be disappointed.
Cool.
So that's what I've been up to. That's what we've been up to.
Yeah.
So if you've checked out, Jessica Jones, if you played the Battlefront Beta, if you've seen Sleeping with Other People, or you liked The Walking Dead, let us know. We want to hear about it.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it for today.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.